Hello, all of you bold, beautiful, brilliant, and highly evolved souls. Today's topic is the two sides of people pleasing. And the first side is, well, first of all, actually, before I go into it, let's get this clear that people pleasing and codependency people pleasing is a trauma response to being abused. I like to compare it to a kind of a Stockholm syndrome, where if you imagine that you were kidnapped and tied to a chair, and someone was holding a gun, you can't fight, you can't flee, and so you have, basically one choice left, and that is to fawn and to try to be really kind and try to be really nice to your kidnappers so that maybe they'll bring you a glass of water, maybe they won't hit you. So yeah, this is people pleasing is actually a very genius thing that you did to survive your childhood. Because I don't want to add any more shame than you probably already feel. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. And but I did have this insight about kind of the sides of it that came to me today. So the first side of people pleasing is when we are putting someone on like a pedestal, and we kind of idolize them as if they're a god. Just like, we might have idolized our narcissistic parent out of fear, really. And we try to please them and keep them happy. And we're constantly wondering how we should be or what we should do. And what they're thinking of us or how they're thinking of us or whatever, so that we're trying to maintain this some kind of image. Oh, she wants me to be happy. Okay, I'll be a little happier. Oh, but not too happy, so I'll just tone it down a bit. So we're constantly like looking at facial expressions and tone of voice and looking for any like sign of disapproval, and we're in that hyper vigilance kind of mode. We go along with what they want, we obey them, and we do what they say. Why? Because we don't have any other choice, really. They are our only caregivers. And they cross our boundaries. And as children, again, we don't have a choice. As adults, if we become, in another relationship, we might be allowing them to cross a boundary because we were taught that that was okay, and that our needs weren't important. And we might take on their values, their opinions, their way of life as our own. And even if we disagree, and we will probably become very agreeable and submissive. In this type, we are likely very afraid of these people. We sense that they might punish or reject us, whether it's your parent or a spouse. If you don't, if you fail to please them, that you're afraid that they might reject you. So it's this constant kind of approval seeking, feeling less than, feeling like that this person is better than you, and you're going to do anything you can to make that person happy, to please them, and you'll let them cross your boundaries. I mean, as an adult, you could say let them cross your boundaries. As a child, it's not your fault, not your choice. But this is what happens because of the narcissistic abuse that we faced. And the second side is kind of a little bit opposite. In this case, you are kind of in a way feeling superior, but underneath that kind of false superiority is still the shame. So in this case, you're pitying and feeling sorry for someone or your parents. yeah, because and both of them can be happening at the same time. You can be putting your narcissistic parents on a pedestal at the same time, pitying them, feeling sorry for them because you sense their pain. You understand, as a highly sensitive person, that they're feeling a lot of pain and that they're feeling shame. So you want to try and save that person. You want to try and fix them, heal them, and you think that they might need your help, your advice, your protection. So this again might refer to a friend or a spouse or someone that you think that, well, they need my help. I can help. And this is how we become codependent, because we're trying to save somebody else. And you might be thinking that they have more pain than you. So again, you feel sorry for them. It's not real compassion, it's pity. And you're accommodating, even if you have to cross your own boundary. And again, this is in an adult situation. If you're a child, then you are accommodating to, like, save your life. You did not have a choice. And they get away with behaviors, and you might not want to stop that behavior because you don't want to bother them or worsen their suffering. And again, this comes, of course, from your childhood, and this is how you behaved with your parents. You don't want to bother them or cause them more pain and suffering. You might think that they are incapable of healing themselves or finding their own way. So you might, again, find that false superiority and thinking that you know better than them, or you know how they should heal themselves. And all of this, of course, stems from narcissistic abuse. So in both of these cases, we are trying to gain our self-worth from being useful to this other person somehow. And in both cases, we're also allowing the other person's needs to be more important than our own. And again, emphasizing that in childhood, this was not a choice. Like, your parents made it very clear that your needs were not important. And, that was not your choice, that your boundaries were crossed. That was, you were the innocent victim. I'm just saying, like, in your adult relationships, we tend to repeat these same kind of people-pleasing characteristics. And it can be very painful as we start to become aware of how we're doing this and our mental processes. And I know for me, it's just come off layer by layer by layer as I get more clear on the things that I'm doing. And it's been very sad to find this out and to realize that, I haven't been fully, truly authentic, probably in any relationships in my life yet. I'm getting closer. I'm now setting boundaries, and I have some pretty, very clear boundaries and firm boundaries. But it still takes, a lot of work, because this is such an ingrained pattern that was ingrained in you from very, very young, most likely. So, be very gentle with yourself as you, as you awaken to all of this, and understand that, that you don't have to work to be loved, because that's what we were basically taught, is that we weren't just lovable as we were. We had to, cater to our parents and make sure that they didn't feel uncomfortable, and didn't want to be a burden and all this stuff, couldn't show emotions, because that would bring up their shame. So, and again, this was, a survival tactic that we had to use. There was no other option. So, I just wanted to share that with you today. And I am wishing you many, many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. And I am Davina Shamaya at Boldness Blooming. Thanks for watching.